You know, the one thing I like to ponder upon when I do my walk to the masjid for Fajr is some things that mean a lot to me. And sometimes I ponder on the Quran. And there's this specific verses from the Quran that I constantly remind myself. And the verses that I wanted to share was from Surah Al-Hadid, and it is from chapter 12, 13, and 14 that I wanted to share, and you'll see why I like to ponder these things, especially when I'm walking towards the masjid during Fajr. In Surah Al-Hadid, verse 12, it says, "On the day you see the believing men and the believing women, their light proceeding before them, and their right, your good tidings today are of gardens beneath which rivers flow, wherein you will abide eternally. This is what is a great attainment." So it's basically talking about the believing men and the believing women on the day of judgment. They're going to be given this nur, and that nur is going to help guide them on their final test to get to Jannah. The next verse, and this is very important, a huge reminder to myself. On that day, the hypocrite men and the hypocrite women will say to those who believe, "Wait for us, that we may acquire some of your light." It will be said, "Go back behind you and seek light." And a wall will be placed between them with a door, and its interior containing mercy, but the outside of torment. Subhanallah. This is very important. So that day, the Muslim believing men and the believing women are getting this light in this pitch darkness to walk toward their destination. And then on that day, the hypocrites, they're waking up in that day, and they see these believing men and women, and they themselves don't have this light, and they are asking them, "Hey, let us have some of your light. We didn't get anything." And the believing men and women are saying, "No, go back to where? To earth. Redo over your life." But that day's not going to happen. This is why they say, you only live once. This is true. You only live once. And then on the day of judgment, everything that you did is going to be now put forth. And then this next verse, they, the hypocrites, will call them, the believers, "We are not with you." They will say, "Yes, but you are inflicted yourselves and awaited the misfortunes, and you have doubted, and you have wishful thinkings deluded you until there came the command of Allah Azza wa Jal, and the deceiver Shaitan had deceived you concerning Allah Azza wa Jal." So now this conversation is happening. This conversation is happening most likely because of this barrier happens, because in the beginning, the people with the light, they're rushing towards their place of heaven, their Jannah, and the people without the light, they're trying to chase after them, trying to get that light, to get help, because it's really dark. And now when the barrier is between the two, right, there's a little bit of safety and comfort for the people, the believers with the light, right? Now they can speak a little more freely. And now they're telling the hypocrites that, yes, you were with us, but you choose not to believe with us. And this is very important. This is what I reflect on and ponder on all the time, especially when I'm walking to the masjid for Fajr. Because if you think about it, we all feel and believe and think that we are on the righteous path, right? And we see people in our families and friends and who actually do sincerely believe that we're like with them. You know, these people, the ones who believe, your family or friends who actually believe, who get up for Fajr, who do righteous deeds, who are doing their best with their friends and families, of being good to their parents and so forth, right? And inshallah, those will be the ones who will be attaining this good light. And those who think they're doing good, and they think that they're righteous, and they think, you know, they're on this path of good, right? But yet they don't actively engage in the things that Allah Azza wa Jal asks them to do, the fard. Very few people in the Muslim Ummah get up for Fajr. You know, and this is exactly what this verse is saying. So those people who believe in their own thinking that they're on the righteous path, they're telling these people, weren't we with you? And they say, and the people with the light and the believing men and women say, yes, but you chose to do your life the way you wanted to. Meaning that when you had the opportunity to wake up for Fajr to pray, you didn't pray. And then you procrastinated. You made excuses and why you didn't pray and why couldn't you pray. And those excuses became more and more relevant to you to believe that, oh, Allah Azza wa Jal is the most forgiving. Allah Azza wa Jal, you know, will eventually forgive us and admit us to paradise and make things easy for me, right? And that's your first thinking. Then you get to the point where you say, what's the point? What's the point of making salah? What's the point of getting for Fajr? I'm not worth it. I'm not worthy, right? And then you start to doubt your deen in Islam. And I've seen Muslims doubt their deen in Islam. You know, it's little by little these things that accumulate. And just to justify themselves from this guiltiness, they start saying things that makes them feel better. And how do I know Islam is true? How do I know this deen is true? How do I know Allah Azza wa Jal, you know, is this all true? So this doubt starts to come, and I've seen Muslims doubt. And some of them leave Islam, or some of them just, you know, put no active interest or care. And then finally, you know, they either completely leave Islam or they live in their own self-deluded realities where they think that they're given some sort of, inshallah, best treatment in the hereafter. And that's the wishful thinking. This is exactly what the verses of the Quran is talking about. You know, and I ponder on this because I myself am walking in the darkness, right? And right now you see these lights around me, right? But on the day of judgment, these lights will not be there, except if I did what I was supposed to do on this earth, that inshallah, Allah Azza wa Jal will grant me a light that I can go to the path and I can see my Jannah. And that Allah Azza wa Jal protects me from being one of those hypocrites this is what I want for everyone, to wake up and understand and develop a relationship with Allah Azza wa Jal and follow the path that God has asked for. And inshallah, that everyone will be guided.